So the last one is Lloyd de Jong. He had the lowest subscribers of anyone to make the list, and he was tied for fourth place, I guess, with Deflate for the most recommendations after I took out the channels that had massive numbers of subscribers.
Okay, so low number of subscribers, but still a lot of people recommending him. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Exactly.
All right, so let's go ahead and check out. Let's go ahead and check out a clip from Lloyd. Here we go.
So today,
Oh, that's a little low.
I'm going to be talking about Sharia law. I need to demystify and explain what Sharia law is and explain its importance in Islam.
Yeah, explain it.
When you only study the Quran and the Hadith, you do not get the full picture. You get a tiny picture of Islam. There's a chapter in the Sharia called Holding One's Tongue. It's about keeping secrets. It's about knowing when not to speak. And it says, do not assist one another in sin and aggression. Now, understand, these meanings may be slightly ambiguous, right? But also, do not let your brother do something that would bring shame on Islam, right? That would break the law of Islam. So, for instance, speak of giving directions to wrongdoers, showing the way to policemen and tyrants when they are going to commit injustice and corruption. 2015, Bataclan massacre. Those men that committed that atrocity were in Molenbeek in Belgium for 2 months. No one for a long time told the police where they were. Why? Because they're following the Sharia law. Because showing the way to policemen when they're going to commit injustice and corruption. Why? Because those Muslims did not commit an atrocity. They were following the law of Allah. They were doing good. They were commanding the right and they were forbidding the wrong. Understand? So therefore, the policemen who would arrest them are the ones who are going to commit injustice. But also notice here, sin and aggression, right? Something that is wrong, where you must hold your tongue, it is wrong to teach questions of sacred law to those learning it in bad faith. So right now, I'm teaching it in bad faith, and you, as my audience, are learning it in bad faith because you are not learning it to apply the knowledge in your lives, i.e. to become a Muslim. So Deen embodies perspectives on existence, that's your Aqidah, your life, society, and socio-political system, governance. Right? Islam is a complete and a competing ideology and a system of life and society, like communism. Right? A political, ideological system. For Muslims, Islam is a superior ideology that towers over other isms like capitalism and the resultant socio-political systems. It is a political framework for managing mankind's affairs. Islam combines civil, moral, and ritual law. Right? There's very little distinction between them, whereas of course we make these differences. Within Judaism, they make the differences between the ritual, the moral, and the civil law. And of course in Christianity, we only have the moral law. Jesus did not legislate parking tickets and how to, give fines to people.
All right, so that's before I forget, I just saw a comment over here from two Messianic Jews. They said his video "Atheism is not a lack of belief." This is from a little earlier. He said his video "Atheism is not a lack of belief." Sorry, atheists is impressive. I only put this up because two Messianic Jews is a channel that people should be following. I've known these guys for a while. These are younger guys, and for people, even people who who've been in apologetics for a while. If you think of Messianic Jew, it's basically Michael Brown. It's like the one guy you think of, and so check out the channel Two Messianic Jews. I will add that later into the description box, link to their channel. I keep meaning to have them on, and we keep. I'm too massively disorganized. Like we've planned to do things in the past and just somehow not gotten around to it. But check out their channel. Now back to Lloyd.
Yeah, so I've known Lloyd for a long time. He's been a major contributor to my channel. The recommendations were based just on the data, but he did make the top 5. You like to describe Sam as the Assyrian encyclopedia. I describe Lloyd as the Sharia encyclopedia. He has a lot of expertise in Sharia. He comes from a security background. He worked in the Middle East for more than a decade in counterterrorism type efforts. So he has a a deep understanding of the culture. He has a deep understanding of the way Muslims think, and he also is very talented at research. He comes up with these great finds that no one else seems to come across. Actually, one of his most popular videos was looking at the Philistines and not about Sharia at all.
That's actually that's what we call. Oh, I'm not sure if that would qualify as niche content, but the idea is whenever you're putting out content, there's a supply factor and a demand factor. So if you say, "Hey, I want to go into apologetics and I want to defend the existence of God," well, that's cool, but there are who knows how many tens of thousands of videos defending the existence of God. And so there's already a lot of competition with it. Whereas if you make a good video discussing the Philistines, you don't have a lot of competition there. So everyone who's looking up the Philistines for something will probably come across your content. So content, keep that in mind, everyone. These are your pro tips here. These are your pro tips. If you are the only source of information on something, like I've made videos in the past where when I was putting it out, I was like, people don't know this stuff. Like who killed Muhammad, right? I put out my video, Who Killed Muhammad? It's got a couple million views or something like that, but I knew, hey, there are a few of us apologists who know this information about Muhammad, but no one's really packed it all into a video and put it out there. The same thing with Muhammad Ali and pointing out who he was actually named after and that guy's background. I was like, people just don't know this. The point here is, when you are loading content onto YouTube, when you're making a YouTube video, you should be thinking how many videos are doing the same thing out there. Doesn't mean you shouldn't make it, even if there are already 100,000 videos on the topic. But you got to be asking yourself, why are people going to watch my video? What am I adding to this discussion? But in those situations where you're like, oh, I've got something people don't know about, that's going to help your video take off if you're the one who's got a video on a particular topic. So Lloyd's your buddy here. Going back, I think I've gotten to the bottom of his channel. Oh, so he's actually been on a while, but it's totally different stuff.
He had a channel about security type issues, self-defense and whatnot, before he started talking about Islam. So at the bottom there, you're at
the issues are kind of connected, right?
Indeed.
All right, so Lloyd, you're saying this guy has some serious brain power and knowledge, and yet has 4,400 subscribers. So final thoughts on why people should subscribe to Lloyd here.
Yeah, I mean, he was the smallest channel to make the list. Clearly, his content is starting to catch on, so you get in now and you're on the ground floor.
All right, so everyone, those are the channels that keep in mind. There were channels who had, like Mike Winger and Christian Prince. There were established channels that did have a ton of people recommending them.